Hi, this is Bill Cates, and welcome to the Referral Champions video training program. This training program is designed for individual financial professionals. And we have a wide range of financial professionals watching this video. We have financial planners, financial advisors, wirehouse brokers, life insurance agents, property and casualty agents, bankers. A large range of financial professionals are watching this video. So I'm going to use the generic term financial professionals most of the time. Sometimes I'll use the term advisors, but we know that the strategies in this video really apply to all aspects, all realms of the financial services industry. Anyone who's looking for more clients can benefit from the strategies here. So this is strategy number one, which is divided into two parts. Part one is to embrace a referral mindset. We're going to examine your referral mindset. Make sure you have the right thinking and beliefs necessary to build a thriving referral-based business. And strategy number two, or I should say part two of strategy one, is to articulate your value with confidence. Make sure you're talking about you and the important work you do in a way that people get it, they feel your confidence, and then they can transfer that to other people when they talk about you to others. So, embrace a referral mindset. Do you have a referral mindset? Do you have the beliefs necessary to generate a thriving referral-based business, a continual flow of high-quality clients through referrals? You see, what you believe is fundamental to your success in every aspect of your life, with referrals in every aspect of your life. You know, sometimes we have expansive beliefs, things that allow us to take great, bold action to produce great results. And sometimes we have very limiting beliefs. And of course, those limiting beliefs is what keeps us from bold action producing great results. You know, we rarely act in discord with our beliefs. So to achieve more success, develop more expansive beliefs. Do you have a referral mindset? You have a referral mindset if your thinking is, I meet my prospects the way they want to meet me. I've made a decision to meet the people that I want to meet the way they want to meet me. Well, how does your next great client want to meet you? Through a referral, through a cold call, through a mailing? Well, you know, Russ Allen Prince with CEG Worldwide has actually studied this, how affluent individuals meet their financial professionals. And here's what he discovered. 84% of the types of folks that I know that you would like to meet want to meet you from a referral, a recommendation from someone else they already trust, a friend, a family member, a colleague, another advisor or financial professional of some sort. And 16% will meet you through other methodologies such as mailings and lead programs and seminars, etc. I'm not saying that those things can't work a little bit, but look how less efficient they are. And yet most financial professionals, unfortunately, spend most of their time and energy and resources in that 16%, when the truth is, I believe, you should be spending most of your client acquisition mode in the relationship mode, in the referral mode. In other words, are you dabbling in referrals or have you made a commitment to referrals? Most financial professionals dabble in referrals. I'm sure you know what to do with one if you trip over it. The question is, do you have a system? Have you made a commitment to building a referral-based business? If I observed your behavior for a couple of weeks, where the things you say, the actions you take, would they demonstrate a commitment to the referral-based business? Referral mindset, very important. You have a referral mindset if you believe that approaching clients for referrals is a safe thing to do versus a risky thing to do. You know, unfortunately, most financial professionals believe it's risky, and that's why they don't do it. If you have a belief that something is risky, you're less likely to do it. On the other hand, if I can help you flip that switch from one side to the other, where you realize this actually can be a very safe thing to do, and having the right approach will make all the difference. And I'll be giving that to you in this training series that we go through here together. If you believe it's safe, then all of a sudden that limiting belief has been turned into an expansive belief. Understanding that we can approach clients for referrals if we do it in the right way. It's very safe. You have a referral mindset if your thinking is, I leverage the lifetime value of my clients. What is the lifetime value of a client? Well, one side of the equation is the business you can do with them over a lifetime. But the other side of the equation is who they can introduce you to over a lifetime. Very few financial professionals tap into their full lifetime value of their clients. Very few financial professionals have actually even calculated the lifetime value of their clients. I hope you have, and if you haven't, I hope you do. Calculate the lifetime value of a client in terms of the business you can do with them over a lifetime. And in subsequent strategy lessons, we'll be talking about how to stay in touch with clients and make sure you maximize your value and your referability over a lifetime. But what is the lifetime value of your clients in terms of the business you can do with them? And then what about adding the other side of the equation, which is who they can introduce you to, and having that way of thinking and that mindset and that observation of our clients, knowing that there's two ways that we can profit from working with our clients. And when I say profit, I mean providing great value, doing a great job to our clients, and of course we get compensated for that. So you have a referral mindset. If your thinking is, I'm constantly giving referrals, boy, I hope you're a referral giver. I hope you're making connections with your clients, with your friends, with your colleagues, in the community in general. Finish this phrase for me. As you give, you receive, right? As you give, you get. It's true in all aspects of our life, especially the referral aspect of our life. And here's something I've observed over the years. Financial advisors who give referrals tend to get referrals. Financial advisors who don't give referrals tend not to get referrals. Many financial professionals are reluctant to give referrals, are reluctant to create connections. They don't want to take the risk. Certainly giving a referral, making a connection, there's a risk. Well, think about this for a second. If you're not willing to take that risk, if you're not willing to connect people in the community, your clients, your friends, your colleagues, etc., if you're not willing to play the giving game of referrals, how are you going to create a culture where your clients give you referrals? There's a disconnect, and we got to make sure that that isn't there. One of the fastest things you can do to start producing results to get referrals is to start giving referrals. Be a connector. Look for ways to make connections. That's a referral mindset. It's a way of thinking that translates into a way of acting. Having a process for generating referrals. Most financial professionals don't have a process because, why? They believe it's an unsafe thing to do, so why would they have a process if they don't believe it's safe? Well, having a process to approach clients for referrals is kind of like playing pool, and if you've played pool, you know what this is like. We have the cue ball, the four ball, the side pocket. We're aiming the cue ball to hit the four ball into the side pocket, trying to make the shot. We're also trying to do something else at the same time, are we not? We're trying to leave the cue ball in position for the next shot, so we can hit the seven ball in the corner pocket, for instance. One shot leads to the next. Well, that's kind of what we want to do. We want to bring a prospect into our life. We want to turn them into a client if it makes sense. If it's a win-win situation, we want to make the shot. But if we don't have a process to leverage that hard work, where's the next client going to come from? Wishing and hoping? You know, wishing and hoping is not a plan. And I don't know whether it's true for you, but it's possible we may need to turn that wishbone of yours into a backbone. So if we have a process in place, then what happens is we bring in that new client, and then the trust we develop with that new client leads to the acceptance by many more people. The trust of one leads to the acceptance by many. One client leads to two, and two clients lead to four, and four clients lead to eight, and our business grows geometrically. Now, one thing this slide represents is the generations that can start to build up of referrals, the multi-generation effect of the referral process, where one client leads us to someone else, second generation. They lead us to someone else, third generation, fourth, fifth. Let me tell you about one financial professional in Wilmington, Delaware, Andre, about a year and a half ago, put on a client appreciation event, had about 21 clients there for this nice little cocktail party, reception, hors d'oeuvres, etc. And all of these people, not only were they clients of his, but they were also part of the same referral lineage, the same referral tree, if you will. And so not only did he say thank you and appreciation for the business, the opportunity to do business with them, but they also saw the impact they had on other people. They saw the impact they had on other people that they didn't even know through the referral process. Now that's a referral mindset, thinking in those terms. And I leave this last one blank, and when I'm doing a live program, my boot camp or a live seminar, I always call out to the audience, you know, call out what fits here for you. I blank to get referrals, and the first thing I usually hear is I love to get referrals. Sometimes I hear I need to get referrals, and someone usually jokes and says I beg to get referrals, and I say no, please don't do that. And then I usually ask the audience, Were you paying attention? And then, yeah, someone says, I give to get referrals. And then I say, how about forget to get referrals? And there's always some guilty laughter there. So, are you forgetting to ask for referrals? Maybe you are. Maybe that's why you have this program right now. Let's try this one on for size. I expect to get referrals. An attitude of expectation. Now, I don't recommend that you say to your clients, I expect you to give me referrals. I think that's too pushy. That's kind of an old, over-aggressive style that we don't want to use anymore. But it is an attitude we bring to the relationship. It's an attitude of confident awareness. We're confident in the work we do. We know we do great work for our clients, for their families, for their businesses. And then we're aware of the opportunity to step into that. We're aware of the opportunity for introductions, for referrals. And in subsequent strategy lessons, I'm going to give you some of the ways to step into that opportunity that's in front of you. Think of an Olympic diver before they dive off the diving board, right? They step to the edge of the diving board, they look down for a second, and they close their eyes. What are they doing? Well, they're visualizing the perfect dive, right? They're expecting the perfect dive. Maybe they're praying a little bit too. I know I would be. Gymnast does the same thing, an attitude of expectation. It doesn't guarantee we'll produce the results we're looking for, but it sure does increase the chances. That's a referral mindset. You know, trust is the most important ingredient in gaining a new client. We have to show up trustworthy. We have to continue to earn their trust. So, let's start all our new relationships, meet all our new prospects, starting at the highest point of trust. That's a referral. We borrow the trust in one relationship long enough to earn trust in that new relationship. You know, my first sales trainer was a gentleman by the name of Dave Sandler out of Baltimore, Maryland. Started the Sandler Sales Institute. Dave told me, he says, Bill, when you go into a meeting that's been arranged or set up through a referral, it's like walking in with a bag of trust over your shoulder. Everything gets easier. So this is what I mean by having a referral mindset. Now, let me give you a little exercise here, something to do to cement this, to make sure you move forward with a lot of awareness and a lot of confidence and energy. With your referral buddy, hope you've teamed up with a referral buddy or a member of your team, or just find someone. If you have to do it by yourself, fine. But compare your current referral mindset to what I just discussed here. What did you notice? Do you have a referral mindset? Have you made a commitment? Are you giving referrals? Are you looking for opportunities to leverage the lifetime value of your client, etc.? What is your current referral mindset compared to where it is? What is the gap that might be there that you need to fill? So what adjustments do you need to make in your beliefs, in your assumptions? Look at what that gap is and then start working on closing that gap. And what is your commitment to new actions? What are you going to do differently to make sure that you develop a robust, solid, expansive referral mindset? You know, at the end of every strategy that I present in this training program, we're going to have exercises, and at the end of each exercise, I'm going to ask you, what are you going to put into action? You know, ideas do not make us more successful. Acting on ideas makes us more successful. Develop a referral mindset. Welcome back to part 2, communicate your value with confidence. You know, how you talk about the work you do, the value that you bring to your client relationships makes a huge difference as to whether that person's going to want to become a client of yours, that prospect, or whether that center of influence is going to want to give you referrals, or how your client talks about you to others. You see, how you talk about the work you do and your value proposition will in a large part determine how your clients talk about you to others. There may come a time where you have a prospect sitting in front of you that they're not just evaluating whether they're going to hire you, they're evaluating maybe 2 or 3 other financial professionals, other firms. And what's going to determine who they go with, who they decide to do business with? In a large part, it's what we're going to talk about right here, how you articulate your value. If you have a center of influence that you want to introduce you to their clients or other people they know in the community, how they understand, how they process the value that you bring, will determine whether you're referable in their eyes. So let's talk a little bit about that. Now, what I'm talking about here is based on the great work of Leo Pusateri. Leo Pusateri is located near beautiful Buffalo, as he likes to describe it, and he's created what he calls the value ladder. And here are some excerpts from his system, and I really do urge you to go a little deeper than what I'm going to give you here and to go to PusateriConsulting.com. Check out his book, check out his audio program, check out his other resources to help you understand and articulate your value. But let me give you a glimpse into Leo's work that I think you're going to find very, very helpful right now. A series of questions, a series of 7 questions that we need to know the answers to communicate our value with clarity and with confidence. I'm going to talk about the 5 most important that I believe right here today. What do I do? What do you do? How do you talk about what you do? Now, I think this should be pretty straightforward. I don't think you need to have lots of fancy, cute, clever elevator speeches. Look, we need elevator speeches in the sense that we need, succinct ways of talking about what we do and about our value. But I think you got to be careful a little bit about being too cute here. I ran into a financial professional once. He says, well, I tell people I'm a financial nutritionist. Okay, that's interesting. He probably thinks it's going to spur me to want to know more. Oh, tell me more about that. What is a financial nutritionist? Well, be honest with you, lost a little credibility in my eyes because I don't want a financial nutritionist. Those are words you don't think about going together. So talk about what you do with confidence, with clarity. Keep it straightforward. Keep it simple. And adjust it to the listener. Knowing who you're in front of, a small business owner or a retired individual or a young couple, adjust it potentially to that person if you have a wide range of people that you like to do business with. If you don't have a wide range of people that you will do business with, then keep it narrow. You got to be honest with this, but sometimes you can adjust it to who you're in front of. Who do you do it for? Who is your ideal client profile, or what is the range of the folks that you do your important work for? Do you know it? And can you articulate it with clarity and confidence? Make it client-centered. In other words, for instance, let's say you manage investments. You don't want to say my minimum is $250,000 or whatever your minimum may be. You want to say we do our best work. Our processes are geared towards individuals and families that have at least $250,000 of investable assets. We make it client-centered, our best work, our processes, who we're serving the best these days. I do believe that if money is important to you in terms of your ideal client profile, and for most financial professionals it is, not all, but for most it is, if it is important to you, if there are parameters around investable assets or income or net worth or anything else, I think it's important that you communicate that because you want to make sure you get referrals to the right people. You want to make sure you attract the right people into your practice. Clear intentions produce clear results. And we communicate those clear intentions with clarity, with confidence, then we're going to produce much better results. And again, you can certainly adjust this to the listener if it makes sense to do that. What do you do? Who do you do it for? How do you do what you do? Now, when it comes to how you do what you do, talk about your processes. We have this process in place, or we have this process in place. Talk in terms of processes, much more better received by the listener. Show them your client service plan, your client service model. Let them know that you have a model for how you're going to stay in touch with your clients. Some people like to call it a client service promise. I like that. I like that term, client service promise. We'll talk more about that in a future lesson, but in the word promise is the word commitment, so I like that. And then make it visual. Put it in writing, PowerPoint, written, bullet points, numbers. Maybe your company has already produced some sort of graphic that demonstrates your process, but here's why you want to have it visual in writing or visual. Because the mind and the brain learn better visually and remember better visually. When you show someone your model for how you do the work you do, first we do this, step 2, step 3, step 4. When you do it in a visual way, it goes into their brain better and it stays in their brain better, and then therefore they're able to communicate it to others better. Visual is very important. And as always, you can again adjust this to the listener a little bit as you explain it. So you make it relevant to them, to their world. And sometimes the process changes a little bit depending on the work you're doing for the different type of individual. So you need to be a little flexible here. Here's a very important part of this value ladder, why you do what you do. Why you do what you do. You know, this isn't a question that very many people are going to ask you. Very few people say, why do you do what you do? Maybe some will, but not many. But this is something you want to make sure you insert into the conversation, whether someone asks you or not. You could be saying, let me tell you how I do the work I do. We have this process, da-da. And let me stop for a second and tell you why I do what I do. You see, this is what speaks to the emotions. When people make a decision to do business with you or to give you referrals, any kind of buying decision is emotional. It's always done from emotion. Now, it's rationalized, it's justified with logic, and we need to hit that part of the brain as well, but we got to make sure we hit the emotional part of the decision-making process, and that's what the why you do what you do does. Next time you're with a prospect or a center of influence or even a client, talk about the why you do what you do, and notice how the energy in the room changes. Notice how people listen differently, quite often because there's story involved. There's a story of how you got into this business. Now, you might consider using the word gap. For instance, let me tell you a little bit about why I do what I do. I've noticed that with most of the people I work with, there's a gap between where they are and where they want to be in terms of the confidence that they have towards their financial future. Or there's a gap between where they are and where they want to be in terms of all aspects of their finances. You have to adjust this to the actual work that you do. But the word gap is great. You say, and I help people close that gap. I derive a lot of pleasure and satisfaction. My business is helping my clients close that gap so they approach their financial future with confidence and peace of mind. Notice that word gap. Very visual. You can even hold your hand up and show a gap and then show the gap closing. Again, don't wait for them to ask you why you do this or why you do the work that you do. Bring it into the conversation, introduce it into the conversation, and this is a very powerful thing when you talk about the work that you do. And then what makes you different? What makes you different? What makes your team different, your firm different? A lot of different things can come here. A lot of financial professionals like to use their client service model as a reason for what makes them different, to show what makes them different. Let me give you an example. Al Fox is a financial professional in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And Al had a referral prospect in his office a couple years ago, and he was describing his process of staying in touch, his client service promise. And he's getting into this, and Al told me that about halfway through, this prospect's jaw dropped and said, wait a second, Al, this is the way you've been staying in touch with my friend Rick for all these years? And Al goes, yeah, this is our model. He says, you know, I think the only time I ever talk to my advisor is when I call him. 2 weeks later, he transferred $3 million into Al's practice. Can you imagine there was an advisor out there that had a